Welcome to Cosmic Channels. Welcome to Cosmic Channels. I don't know why that doubled up on the music there. I'm your host, Braden. This is your Cosmic Call-In show. I just host it every week, every Thursday, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're taking your calls, your ghost stories, your sleep paralysis stories. You've seen some aliens. You've seen UFOs. You've seen some objects in the sky that you want to share. Your dad, your mom, your pa, your sister, your brother, your best friend saw something, you want to share their story. Call in 1-833-703-0424 is the number you can call. Ready Cosmic Channels. Lines are open, everyone. Welcome to Cosmic Channels. So a little update. The studio's re-hardwired in, so should have no more connectivity issues. When I get a caller on the line, it should be responsive, quick, no more lag. Delaying. And listen, Kyler in the chat, no excuses. Call like a champion. We want to hear that hoarse voice firsthand, or else we don't believe you. I want some Skinwalker stories. Listen, it's even better if you got a hoarse voice, actually. Right? It sounds cooler. Everyone I think will agree your voice sounds much cooler when you're sick. I'm just saying. Everyone says that. I say that. Everyone's in agreement. No one's agreeing, but I'm just going to take consensus that everyone agrees. Now, there's the first call. Callers take priority. I do have a little tale for you all, though, when we get a lull in the calls. Cosmic Channels, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
What's up, Braden? It's Connor from California.
Hey, Connor, how's it going?
I'm doing good. How about you?
Not bad, man. No complaints. Just happy to have the studio kind of reset up, at least to the point where I'm recording a little better. What do you got for us tonight?
Last time I called in about just shooting the shit about death, so now we're going to talk about life.
Life. All right, let's do it. What's your thoughts on life?
I was kind of thinking of starting this one by asking you a question and letting you expand on it. So, what do you think our overall purpose, or like life's overall purpose, or you can boil it down to humans' purpose or whatever, but like in that area, what do you think?
I mean, I'm so conflicted on this because it's like it's the story of the two wolves. Everyone has the two wolves inside them, because part of me believes that there's no rhyme, there's no reason. We're just here because we're here through sheer chance and random evolution, and none of this has any meaning, and we're trying to put meaning to chaos. Part of me believes that. And then another part of me believes that, if we're going into like spiritual and what transcends, like we talked about death last time you called, is that, a personal belief is just that your time here, it's growth, right? You need to make yourself better, a better person, a better, improve on your being, if so to say. And so like half of me kind of, this more spiritual side of me believes that, of like, you're meant to come here and do good and be good and grow, and so that you can kind of kick off the next life, by even further. If who knows what's to say that's true, but that's kind of my two conflicting camps. Because some days before a coffee, I'm like, none of this means anything. I don't care. And then later on the day, you're like, no, I should be a good person, because who knows what I'll be coming back as. So, what are your thoughts on it?
Well, based off of what you just said, that last part, it made me think of the Akashic records. I think it's what they are. Is that like kind of like where all your thoughts go or something like that?
Well, I mean, they say that that's like, people tap in. That's like all knowledge, right? That
okay, yeah,
that existence.
Kind of in the right area.
They kind of point to that for different things. Like, I think some people, they call it like sudden savant syndrome, where you hit your head and then all of a sudden you're like, now I'm a piano whiz, or I speak another language, and you're like, well, how is that possible? That's like, that's stuff you need to learn. And how is someone whacking their head give them the ability? It kind of means that, like, some people theorize that that's already there. The information's already there. It's locked away somewhere. And some people point to the Akashic records as something we can tap into, or some people can tap into that gives you, it's all knowledge, all, I mean, fuck, it really points.
I like that.
In my head, it really points to a simulation theory. If we're going to Akashic record roots, that it's like
where all the data's going.
Yeah, it's the source code, baby. That's what it is. Like, we break it down, that's the source code, right? It's like all the ones and zeros where all the information is put into. But yeah,
and it very well could be.
Yeah,
be like a little matrix world where we're all plugged in, like where we've well, in the past or something like that, we've advanced so much to where we've like learned how to just breed consciousness, so that it just like continuously feeds into the main, the dude in the matrix, like that little weird god guy.
I mean, listen, for me personally, it's not hard to sell me on any theory. Like, you say a couple big words, make a compelling case. I'm on board. But I always kind of get into it with the boys when we're talking AI and stuff, of like AI traveling the universe and stuff. I kind of always think, I'm like, man, if there was an advanced intelligence that got that intelligent, why continue to build outwards, traversing the stars, when you could, wrap yourself up around some sort of star in a Dyson sphere, have unlimited energy, and then you just build inwards in a digital world, and you're running all your simulations all at once, and we're just some sort of algorithm trying to find out meaning in randomness.
And perhaps that simulation, when viewing from the perspective of like inside the simulation, so if we're thinking in like a computer screen, but I'm thinking obviously like the computers with the big boxes on them, just because they have more depth than like flat screens.
Yeah.
Like, one moment, please.
Yeah. Well, it's like, this is all some quantum computer doing some sort of advanced calculation, right? Someone in the chat saying if Uncle Slam saying if we are ones and zeros, I'm spam email. We're all spam, buddy.
My bad.
We're all filler. We're all the spam.
I got sucked into the simulation.
Yeah, it's interesting to think, like, it's easy to go, like, because we just don't know. We don't know why we're here. We don't know if there's a reason, and or what if there's a grand purpose. But like the Akashic records and kind of getting into that, I mean, I know some people think of it as a spiritual side, but like for me, when I truly believe, like, I'm like, okay, if that's there and you can bonk my head and now I can speak Mandarin, I'm like, to me, I'm like, then that ability's always been in my head. Like it's just like behind a locked doorway.
Like just consciousness in general is like so not misunderstood, but like we don't know everything about our brain and how it works and like everything in between.
And I mean, it does give you the confidence. I mean, it's funny we're talking about this because sometimes when I'm learning a new skill, like everyone knows, like when you're learning something new, there's that period where you fucking suck. Like where you're doing something new, you're just like, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm bad at this. I have at times been like, no, I'm opening the door slowly. This information of me being good at this is already there. I've just got to slowly, something's jammed behind that door and I got to slowly work it open. Right. So it's like, I've thought that, like, I'm like, the path to me being good is already in my mind. I've just got to work at it, getting that door open to allow myself to have those abilities. But it's, I mean, I've seen people like, master pianists, master mathematicians, see patterns in everything. And you're like, it's kind of weird, all from bonking a head.
Yeah, if it all goes to one spot, because we are the simulation, like it's Earth, since it's the only habitable planet, and it's literally just an orb of like life in all different aspects, in all different varieties. There's so much of it. Like there's so much of Earth that we don't even, like, we haven't even explored it all, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, maybe, but like there's still like uncontacted tribes, I think. That's still crazy.
Oh, I mean,
but like if like this is an orb of all varieties of life built just to like learn.
Yeah, I mean, on the uncontacted tribe stuff, it's like, yeah, that's a real thing. There's humans on Earth who we could change their lives in an instant, bring them, 1,000 years into the future in a day, but we choose not to. So I kind of always, in the back of my head, go like, here's me being like, yeah, I could go there and show them some things, but
give them YouTube.
I'm acting as if I'm the top of the human food chain here. It makes me instantly think that, like, are there humans watching us right now, live in society, and be like, look at these fucking dolts. Just leave them. We can't contact them. Just let them do their thing. Like, we're an uncontacted tribe, so. Like, in the universe, right? Like, I kind of extrapolate that and be like, is that a possibility that there's even more advanced humans that we just don't know about, right? We're the uncontacted tribe. Like, it's
the uncontacted tribe of the galaxy.
Yeah, right. Like it's weird because we do it to other humans. So it's like, if we're doing it to other humans, are we 100% sure there's not more advanced humans doing it to us? Kind of interesting. So, right? Like 100%. I'm sure those uncontacted tribes see planes every now and then, see something in the sky, and they're like, oh,
and like people fly drones over them.
Yeah, right? They're freaking out. And now here we are talking about UFOs, right?
China lanterns.
Right? Yeah, we're seeing UFOs and reporting them, right? It's like, like, are they coming because they're just other humans and they're interested, similar to how we're interested in uncontacted tribes? Who knows, right? It's a glimpse into the past maybe for them, just like we study these uncontacted tribes, right? And what they're doing.
Oh, that's funny because like a glimpse into the past and how like we look out into space and see like the planets and galaxies, that light is like 1 million years old or whatever, like that always boggles my mind because it's like we're really seeing into the past. So if we had such advanced telescopes or something to see like on planet, like through the atmosphere and like basically just zoom into a rock or like a tree or something on a different planet or something like that, like would it be the past?
Yeah, it would be 100%.
Would that,
we'd be looking at
like that? That's
we'd be looking
crazy.
because we're looking at the, like, we would be looking thousands and thousands of years in the past.
Like that's like how is the light that already
I know, it's so
happened
weird.
not
It's so weird to
that's fucking wild.
Yeah, it's so weird to think about that. But yeah, you're be looking into the past, not the present. It's just it's light travel, man. It's how it works.
And like aliens traveling through hyperspace, or like the time warp, what are they called, wormholes or something?
Yeah.
Like that's like just the space in between it all makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
If you were that advanced enough to like harness it, the ability to control it and whatever, but
yeah, it's
wild.
Man, they're interesting. It's interesting thought experiment. Like it's easy to like just kind of trip and tumble down some rabbit holes when you start thinking about that kind of stuff, and like when talking about like what is life and what is that. So it's very interesting. Connor, thank you so much for calling in. I think you wanted to call in one more time with another topic.
Yep.
Life, death, birth. I don't.
Life,
remember.
death, what? Did
was
you
birth?
remember?
Was it birth? The third one? I don't. I couldn't remember. I have to listen to the last call.
I think it was, but I think it was.
All right, Connor.
I'll come up with a new one or something.
All right. Thank you so much for calling. I love these little thought conversations. They're super interesting to talk about.
Yeah, I appreciate you being able to spit back some theories also.
Oh, no worries, man. Thank you for calling in. Take care of yourself.
Yeah, have a good one.
Bye. Yeah, listen, again, I've said about the niche market of Cosmic Channels that we don't get a lot of calls in on, and that's just straight up theorizing and straight up talking about conspiracies. We've had a couple of those calls recently, so I'm glad that's picking up. I love that. You got a theory you want to shoot the shit on. You want to talk about bridge collapses or whatever. I'm open. I love UFO calls. I love Bigfoot calls. I love all the calls. Lines are open. I saw there was a caller on hold, but I think I may have lost him before. But story time. So many of you know Cosmic Channel has been slow growing. Just a slow, week by week, inch by inch, just slowly growing. Until last week. Last week, huge double up. Doubled our best day, which was wild. I was, kind of like, whoa. It's kind of crazy. And this is a little bit of it's not a scary story. It's a cautionary tale for anyone podcasting or podcasters out there, or just people who listen to the show and kind of curious to like, what happens behind the scenes. So we signed with Spreaker, which is iHeartMedia, and we signed all of our shows, Sports Conspirators, Alien Theorists, Cosmic Channels, to be kind of hosted by them. That's our podcast host. And for the past year, our main show, Alien Theorists Theorizing, has been week over week, slowly shrinking in numbers. We've spent money on ad campaigns to literally nothing. No bump in numbers, just a slow, steady decline. And there's a bunch of reasons why we're like, maybe it's just this age of the show, maybe it's times, podcasting's down in general, kind of all, had these kind of ideas of why, maybe this was happening. It's not dramatic, but it was week over week decrease you could see on analytics. So fast forward to last Wednesday, having some issues with Spreaker, having some issues with them fulfilling contractual obligations, having troubles getting a hold of them. So we decide to pull the plug on our relationship with Spreaker. At this point, we get a notification from Spreaker being like, yeah, it's cool that you guys want to leave, but you have to give us 90 days notice. So basically they were threatening to hold all of our shows, including this show, Cosmic Channels, hostage for 90 days as some sort of weird, I don't know, for some weird reason. So in response, we demonetized all of our shows on Spreaker because we're like, you know what? Well, it's kind of a way to shoot back. Well, if you're going to hold us, none of us are going to make money for the next 90 days. We're just demonetizing the show. So we demonetized the show last Wednesday, and something interesting happened. All of our downloads absolutely skyrocketed. And we started getting emails, automated emails from Spreaker being like, hey, look at your show numbers. You should monetize. And this was kind of interesting to us because we're like, wow, across the board on all of our shows, all of a sudden numbers are up. Cosmic Channels doubled up on downloads. ATT downloads went to downloads we haven't seen in a year, over a year, on an off download day. So we then started to think, I think Spreaker's been suppressing our downloads in order to not pay us ad revenue. So we've left, since had a call with Spreaker, left Spreaker, rejoined an old publisher that we had maintained a good relationship with, and all of our numbers are back. A Cosmic Channel off download day, like yesterday, for example, just did more downloads. Like, just the record before last Thursday, we just beat on an off day download on our new host. So we're pretty sure Spreaker and iHeartRadio has been suppressing our podcast numbers in order to not have to pay ad revenue. Pretty crazy. We've left Spreaker. This is a cautionary tale to anyone who is getting into podcasting or doing podcasting or has a podcast that's currently being hosted by Spreaker. Reach out to Spotify, reach out to Apple iTunes, and get your actual download numbers from them, because they're wildly off on Spreaker, and we had no idea until just recently. So screw Spreaker, screw iHeartRadio. That's my cautionary tale. Little update on Cosmic Channels. We got a caller online. Calls take priority. Cosmic Channels, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
This is Tyler from St. Petersburg, Florida.
Hey, Tyler. How's it going?
Good. I wrote in a email, but it never got read, so I decided to call.
Hold on. Let's see. Let me see, because I
was the one with the PS at the end to Andrew about the Lions.
Yes. Hold on. Let me find it. I know I have it, so before I forget, I'm going to pull it up here, just so I can be like, okay, I'm going to take it off the rotation. I may have actually sent that to someone already. Stories.
Yeah, you said you were going to send it to Andrew because I took a jab at the Lions.
Yes. So that is correct. So I have it. Yes, it is in Andrew's hand, but I just haven't had a chance to edit it. But let's tell the story anyways. We'd tell Andrew to screw the Lions all the time. So what do you got for us?
What was that?
So what do you got for us tonight?
So I'm from St. Pete, Florida. It's a little peninsula in the middle of the state. And growing up, we used to travel about 3 hours north to Bell County. And some family friends owned property on a river. And on the way up there, it's all farmland, all cows, all wheat. And there's always... I could tell where we are just by how many turns we take. 'Cause I was probably 13 at the time. Playing Grand Theft Auto in the back of the car. My dad's work van. We had a little power inverter. We play PlayStation on it. And I got tired of the game, so I just peeked out the window and I seen this big telephone tower. The red blinking light at the top. And just watching as we're driving. I noticed a little speck underneath the tower, a little green light, like an orb. As we're passing it, it blew up like a big force field around the cell phone tower. I yelled at my dad. He looked in the rearview and he couldn't see anything. He stopped, and he still didn't see it. He kept driving. Get, quarter mile down the road, and I could still see it in the trees, but he never saw it.
Weird.
That's about it.
Now, was it like moving in the trees, or was it just stationary?
It was like stationary in a field, like over top of the telephone tower.
So did it move away from the tower at all, or just maintain the tower, but then kind of would just disappear at times?
It just disappeared whenever my dad looked at it.
That's so weird. What and how like how big? How much bigger than the tower, or just small?
I'd say probably tower had to have been a couple hundred feet tall. It didn't cover the whole tower, probably just like the base, maybe 50 feet tall, 100 yards wide.
Strange. No pulsing or anything. Just like dull green.
Yeah, like a force field from like a video game or something.
Very strange. What are
Like
your
it was
thoughts
like-
on it? Seeing it, what did you think it was? What or like, you've pondered on it, I'm sure, a lot since then. What are your thoughts on it?
No idea, really. But thinking back on it, maybe it was some kind of UFO trying to absorb power from the telephone
That, or
tower or something.
maybe something like absorbing signals, right? Like if it's like a telephone
Yeah.
tower or something, or a cell tower, maybe like intercepting communications or something like that. I've never kind of thought about that. If you had some sort of advanced technology, I'm sure you could just siphon off a cell network, like, all communication in the area, at least.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But thinking about it recently, whenever I wrote the post to you, I was thinking if only it was 5G back in the day, maybe they were trying to use the new 5G stuff or
Yeah,
something.
they're like, God damn, this dial-up's slow. It's interesting. I remember reading it now. It's
I'm sure my email had a little bit more detail. It's just harder to remember all of it when I'm live.
It's so weird because I'm like, it does kind of remind me of another story I've heard where something, but like was kind of like wrapped around a tower, but it was an absence of light. Someone called in and told that they were like, I couldn't see the light, and this object looked like it was like wrapped on the tower. But if we're going off of like these things are coming and either powering up or something, maybe that's something we're not looking at of or making a connection of these sightings near or around these towers around UFO hotspots, right? It might be because I don't think anyone's marking those pins, right? Of like, maybe that's a connection we haven't, should be more looked at.
Yeah. I don't think there's a whole lot of UFO sightings in Florida. I haven't really looked, but
there's lots, dude. There's lots. Florida's a hotbed. Anywhere along the coastline, it's pretty much a hotbed for UFO activity. Now, it said in the email you have a few more stories from the same area and on your property. Any you want to share?
yeah. So the property is on the Swanee River, and it's, can't remember the name of the interstate or the highway it's off of, but so one side of the river is a different county than the other side, and it's just this dirt road follows the length of the river for probably about 2 miles when we turn off, and it's just rows of houses along the water, and then the other side of the road is just dense forest, like hogs and coyotes can barely make it through.
Yeah,
It's just really thick vines and pine trees. So at the end of the road, there's an old abandoned park that's on the water. It used to have like a rope swing and there's a playground and stuff, but it was abandoned. All that's left is a concrete shack with some concrete picnic tables.
Yeah.
And there's 2 bathrooms on each side of the building. We were probably 13, 14, a whole group of kids. We would walk down to the park at night, keeping our eyes on the skies, walking through the darkness, no cell phone lights, no flashlights, nothing, just pitch black with the moonlight. And we were all playing pranks on each other, hiding in the woods, jumping out, scaring each other. And our one friend went missing. We're like, oh, he's fucking with us. He's probably in the bathroom. We go into the bathroom, and there's like a shrine, like a devil shrine in the bathroom, like in one of the stalls.
Weird.
We dipped out of there. We were gone.
Lit candles and stuff too, or just what was in there?
Like like melted candles, like they've been burning for, days. Like all that's left is wax on the ground.
Like someone was
And, like,
someone was doing some witch shit up there.
Yeah, and red spray paint on the wall, the pentagram, and baby dolls and shit like that.
So like it looked more involved than just like a couple kids making a prank. Like it looked like legit scary.
Yep, for sure. Like, I'm sure it wasn't blood or anything. It's probably just spray paint, but who knows?
Still,
it could have been
I mean,
animal sacrifices or something.
And this is just like like anyone can go in this washroom. Like how accessible is it to the public?
If you're from the area or you live around the area, it's just walk right through the gate and there's the building.
I'm just trying to think of like how long maybe it had been sitting like that without being like cleaned out or like someone tidying up.
Well, it's completely abandoned. Like the city and the county doesn't maintenance it or anything. Yeah.
Okay, so
it's almost like it's private property at this point. Just no one really cares about the property.
Yeah.
So like, there's cobwebs everywhere. Like stereotypical haunted house. That's what it looks like on the inside.
And just gave you bad vibes instantly.
Yeah. You see a red pentagram on the wall, you kind of got to get out of there.
Yeah, well, I mean, especially if there's, melted candles and baby doll heads everywhere. Yeah, that's, turn and burn, baby. Get the hell out of there.
I got a Bigfoot story in the same area.
Oh,
too.
Let's hear it.
Another night adventure. This was probably like a year before, 2 years before. We spent like every other weekend up there. And, kids we were walking back down to the park, completely black. We get down to the entrance of the park, so the road kind of curves to the left. It just keeps going along the forest on the left still, and then it turns into farmland on the right. We get around the corner past the park. We're like, let's just head back. Start walking back. And see a big, tall, hairy figure cross the road in front of us from almost like the park towards the wooded area. And we're like, what the fuck? So it's in front of us, the way we gotta go. So we all just start trying to run past it after it made its way into the woods. And as we're running, you can hear, there's 4 of us. You can hear our footsteps on the dirt road as we're running. And then you can hear something running through the woods on the right side, facing us, all the way back down to where we turn off to go onto our property.
Like pacing you in the woods?
Yeah, like it crossed the road and then followed us, but in the woods.
And still that thick.
Yeah, vines, pine trees, oak trees.
So it's motoring through an area like it should have more of a difficult time motoring through.
Yeah.
That's terrifying.
Like we've seen hogs, a lot of hogs in Florida.
Yeah.
We sit out by the gate because it's probably 2 acres of property, and we got a little gate off the road. So it's easy enough just to walk up to the gate, and hogs will scatter into the woods, and they kind of get caught up in the vines right on the edge.
Yeah. But like not moving like that through there.
No, they're having a tough time getting into it.
I mean, the thing about the moving, so you're saying it would have crossed the road and then paced you from the other side. I mean, that's like really real, like predatory shit. You know what I mean? Like chasing you from concealment.
Like it wasn't afraid.
Right? Like it was, because like I feel like if you spooked a hog that was like, fuck, I'm gonna chase these guys, the hog is gonna chase you out onto the road, you know what I mean? Like, and then chase you. It's not gonna go and pace you in cover.
Yeah.
Right? That is
hogs down here will run the opposite direction.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, in the small chance that one chases you, I don't think a hog's gonna then be like, I better do this from the protection of like concealment. I'm gonna flank them. I don't think a hog's having those thoughts, but That's terrifying.
Yeah,
Did it just
was-
stop? How'd you
It
get
was
away?
definitely bipedal. Oh, we turned onto our property and we went in the cabin, and that was the end of it.
Terrifying.
As soon as we got, well, it's just a straight road, along the river. Then all the houses on the left are probably about 10 acres apart. There's probably, say, like 3 houses in between the park, like 3 parcels of land in between the park and our cabin.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's pretty far distance down the road, and it followed us the whole way. Like, you can hear the brush and the vines snapping, and
It's terrifying. That's absolutely terrifying.
yeah, like clear as day, bipedal, crossing the road.
And then pacing you.
Yeah, it had to have been at least 8 foot tall, I would assume. Now, this was 15 years ago, so.
I mean, I've always said and I've maintained, I truly believe, and I shouldn't take credit for this. A friend of mine told me this, and then I've kind of bought on, where he thinks that the height of Bigfoot is just exaggerated, not by any means of like trying to, but it's like, have you ever seen someone like that's 6'9"? You know what I mean?
Once or twice in public.
Yeah, like they look they're so noticeably tall. And if you saw that person in a high stress environment in the woods,
Oh, yeah.
then your brain kind of goes, "Oh, that's 8 feet tall." Whereas I think that's what happens with Bigfoot a lot. I don't think Bigfoot is maybe as big as everyone thinks. I would say that is probably a bit of a high stress looking and then being like, fuck, that thing was so tall. Yeah. It's not like we're getting measuring tapes, so it's, I have no doubt it was
Like,
tall.
holy hell, that thing is tall.
But the pacing, man, that's concerning. It's like, I kind of wonder what would have happened if you just stood your ground, but not that you were going to find out. I mean, everyone in that situation's running, but, just kind of curious, because it was like, part of me thinks it did seem curious because it's following you but doesn't want to be seen. So maybe it's still thinking you're a threat. Or I'm like, is it setting up for an ambush? Where it just can jump out and grab someone. Either, like, terrifying. That's a wild, wild story, man. I love it. Thank you so much for calling in with all 3 of those tales. Those was great. Phenomenal.
Yeah.
Loved it.
If I could think of, I'm sure there's other stuff that happened. I'd have to talk to my dad.
Hey, call back in, man.
From that area.
You know the number.
Yes, sir.
All right, man.
Appreciate it.
Take care of yourself, Tyler.
You too.
Bye. Woo! I mean, I can honestly say I hope I go my whole life without getting paced by a Bigfoot in the woods and having to sprint away in fear for my life of a giant, hairy, bipedal creature. Terrifying. Lines are open. 1-833-703-0424. Lines are hot. Let's go right to the lines. They take priority. Cosmic Channels, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
Fuck you, I called. This is T-Hall from West by God, Virginia.
Hey, brother, how's it going? You're not running any more backcountry bar witches?
Dude, I've got no stories about dick-grabbing witches.
That's too bad.
How's the show going tonight?
Good, brother, good. Just having some drinks, taking some calls before the Canucks game starts, so no complaints on this end. Got my fast internet set up, so there's no more delay. Before last couple weeks when people talk, there was like, maybe a 1 second delay, which makes things a little difficult.
Oh, no. You got it fixed, though.
Oh, it's got it fixed now, yeah, buddy. Back to that high speed.
Good shit.
I got that high speed dial up now.
What is it?
I got that high speed dial up.
Ah, good shit. Good shit. When are we doing a BC doc?
Hey, you tell me when. We'll be there.
I know, I need it. We'll get in touch. Well, hey, I got a story. It's it's going to be told by someone else, and it's kind of a third party story, but I've got my old lady here with me, and she's got a story about her mom if you want to hear it.
Oh, I would love to hear it.
It's ghost related.
Woo.
Can we do ghosts tonight?
Oh, of course. Hold on. Let me put on some ghost music. There we go.
Yeah.
We're ready. I'm really setting the mood. I'm setting the mood.
Hell yeah. All right, I'm going to hand it over to her.
Lovely.
Here you go. You got to introduce yourself, though.
Okay, my name's Ariel.
Hi, Ariel.
Hello. So this story is from when my mom was, like, it's kind of in the 80s. She was, like, living by herself and working as, like, a park ranger in Ohio. And she shared, I guess she wasn't quite living by herself. She shared this apartment with another girl who was, like, working as a nurse. And they had opposite shifts. So this girl worked night shift. My mom worked day shift. But essentially, my mom came home one day, and the other girl was out with her boyfriend or maybe at work. I'm not quite sure. And my mom went into her bedroom and found a man's wallet and a man's comb on her bedroom floor. And at first, she was, like, pissed because she thought, like, her roommate had brought a guy in and, like, slept with him in her bed.
Yeah.
And was like, what the hell? And so she picked up the wallet, and it was, like, for this older guy. And it was, like, really random, and she was like, what the heck, who is this guy? So then she thought, oh my god, somebody broke into my house. So they called the cops, because she called her roommate, and her roommate was like, no, I don't know who that is. So they called the cops came, and here the wallet and the comb belonged to a guy who'd been in prison for like 10 years. Like, they got a hold of his wife, and he had been in prison. And they had lived in that house, but they were never able to find the wallet and the comb. I guess he lost it, like, shortly before he went to prison, I guess.
Well, I'm sure it's more the wallet. He's like, my lucky comb.
Yeah. Apparently that was very noticeable to him. But so then they were like, well, what if there's a squatter, like somebody living? And so they had it all checked out, no evidence of that. So whatever. They were freaked out, but they, like, went on. And so then weird things started happening, you know, like the typical, like, putting things somewhere and then they were, like, gone and would show up somewhere else, you know, weeks later. But then the real kicker was my mom, like, adopted a puppy. Somebody dumped a puppy at the park she worked at. And so she took it home and adopted it. And then it started getting, like, really weird. It would just, like, stare into the, like, corner of the ceiling in the living room and just, like, stare. And then it would go into these, like, trances and start, like, going in circles and circles and circles, and then, like, drop down and start seizing, whatever. So she thought maybe there was a neurological condition.
Yeah.
They took it to the vet, whatever. And so they were like, we can't find anything wrong with this dog, but it's like a puppy. So, like, they tried a little bit longer, but still was happening. So eventually they put it down. Well, like a month later, my mom gets a new dog. Same exact thing starts happening. The dog would, like, look up in this same corner of the ceiling in the living room and have these, like, episodes. And while this was all happening, all the dog toys would, like, go missing. And so then the second dog actually had to be put down as well because it was, like, having all of these episodes. They couldn't find anything wrong with it. And it actually, I think, like, kind of died rather than was put down. Like, it just exhausted itself and passed away. And so then later on, the radio in her room would just turn on at random times, and the music would go up and go down. And then they were looking for these dog toys. I don't know how they ended up doing it, but they looked in the ceiling, and all the dog toys that had gone missing for, like, all these months were in, like, one of those paneled ceilings where you can, like, push the panel up.
Yeah, I don't
They
like
were
that.
all up there in the ceiling. And so my mom was like, I definitely, like, felt like she would be in bed and, like, feel, like, a presence above her face while she was, like, trying to sleep. And so eventually, like, she went to all this trouble to, like, try and get it removed, like, saging the place. And, like, she finally, like, screamed at it and was like, whatever you are, like, leave me alone. And eventually, like, it did leave her alone, but she found out later from her landlady that apparently, like, a woman had been killed there, murdered there, and they had, like, shut off the stairway. Like, they had drywalled over the stairway where she was killed, and just, like, built a new apartment out of that. So probably some sort of, like, malevolent presence still there. But
that was going to be my question is, like, what was the guy that wallet they found, what was he in jail for? Was it murder? Did he murder someone there? Like, was the ghost like leaving out stuff of being like, this guy? Because it's just so weird that stuff popped up. Like, why leave that stuff out?
Right. So I don't know if that. I don't believe that guy was in jail for murder. He might have been in jail for like assault or something like that, but it wasn't murder. But yeah, they never. I guess they never solved the murder of the girl who was killed there. So like, it potentially could have been this guy as well.
Yeah, but it also does give me the vibe that like this thing was giving it back. Like, here's this stuff. It's not like it's not doing me any good. Here it is.
For sure, yeah.
So it's weird. It's such a weird thing. The animal stuff I absolutely hate, but it's like, I had a call a couple weeks ago. Someone bought a haunted crib off Marketplace, and one of the things they said is like their dogs got unbelievably sick, and when they removed the dogs from the house, the dogs were fine. They take the dogs to the vet, dogs are fine. Bring the dogs home, dogs are sick, and they couldn't figure it, and they had no idea. So it's like, yeah, it's just a weird. Must have been like an upset spirit, like maybe of this woman that was murdered, and just lashing out.
Well, I'll give it back to T Hall here.
Hey, thank you so much for calling in. That was a phenomenal story. You can call back anytime. You got more of those ones. That's great.
Yeah. No dick grabbing witch on this tonight, but
she showed you up. She showed you how it's done.
Oh, I know, dude.
Take that.
Dude, you gotta her. I have to get her mom to call in and tell you guys from her perspective.
I'd love that. Yeah.
One of the best stories I've ever heard.
Yeah, I would love to. I'd love to hear that though. Yeah, people in the chat are saying.
Well, thanks for having us, buddy. Yeah. We love you, and we love the show, and we love ATT, and we love. I guess I'll say it. We love Canada.
Yeah, you do.
Good people up there in BC.
Yeah. All right. We'll talk to you later. Take care of yourselves. Stay
all right,
safe
brother.
up there.
Be good, man.
All right.
Be
bye.
safe. Bye.
I mean, listen. If you're a malevolent spirit out there and you start humming poor doggos, you're getting exercised right away in this house. We're not going to put up with that on this show. Sage it. Not even Sage. What's worse? I want to find out what the worst thing we can do to ghosts is. And that's what we're doing to these ghosts that are being mean to these puppies. All right, terrifying. But like weird situations, like why just give the wallet back? It seems like it seems like whatever that thing was taking the toys from the dogs, taking things away from people or animals, and then when they were gone and there was like they're not looking for them, it's like, well, here, take this. I don't want it. No one's looking for it. Weird. Yeah, Duchess of Doobies. Trap them in a lamp. And then you sell it on Marketplace. That's what I'm doing from now on. Lines are open. 1-833-703-0424. Lines are hot. Let's go to the lines. Cosmic Channels. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, this is Kyoto. I'm calling from New Jersey. I wrote in a bit ago about the lumberjack guy in my mom's bedroom.
Yes.
Yeah.
How's it going?
Good. You?
Not bad. Yes, hold on. I'm just pulling up your story. I have it. Because I had the other person's story. I have that up. Are you going to tell that story?
I can talk to it or talk about it again, or I could talk about the haunted basement of that same house.
Let's talk about the haunted basement.
All right. Basically, the way that this house was set up, it was longer one way than it was wide.
Yeah.
You basically had to walk through the living room, through the kitchen to get to the basement, do a 180 to go down into the basement, and then do another 180 to look at this door that led outside. And it felt like that door was always being guarded by some sort of military man. And there was a crack in the basement floor, and he did not like anyone to cross that crack in the line.
And when you say, like, first off, my first question is why do you think a military man?
It just felt like he was always in a uniform. Like, I don't know how to describe it. It just felt like he really did not like people crossing a certain line.
Interesting. And then what happened when you crossed the line? Like, why? What would happen where you get that feeling?
It was just like, it felt like you had to run away if you crossed that line. And when I talked to my mom about this years ago, she said that she didn't like the area behind the stairs, which was beyond this line.
And was this like, did you guys own this house? Did you like own it from build or rent it, like older home?
We rented it, and I looked it up on Zillow last year. It was built in like 1929, I think.
Yeah, it's an old house.
Yeah.
So maybe this is that's exactly it. This house was owned by like a military person or a military man, and like that was there was something special or something that he kept safe, or maybe that was his area, and at the time like his family wasn't allowed to go there, and so it's like that's just the feeling you get, right? If he had something there, or does it when you go down there, like what's the feeling? Is it just an overwhelming sense of like bad, or like do you get like a really like I cannot be here, like this is really bad, like that's, you know what I mean?
Yeah, at night he really this ghost, this presence really didn't like anyone down there, and that's where our washer and dryer was, so we had to get all our laundry done before the sun went down.
Yeah.
And one time during the day I went into that little stairwell that's behind the door, and there's this crawl space. I stuck my hand in, and it felt like something was about to come out and grab my hand.
Oh, brother, that's all crawl spaces. I'm telling you, every crawl space I've ever been in, I think that's a universal feeling of crawl spaces. It's I have a crawl space that I have to go into, and every time I open the hatch, I go, I'm gonna get pulled through this thing, 100%, without a doubt. And then I peek my head in, and I'm like, something's waiting for me around this corner. I'm gonna die every single time. I think that's a universal feeling, because crawl spaces are the worst, and whoever invented them should be dead.
They should.
They're the worst. It's terrifying though. It's weird to have that. I know the feeling of having that weird, like that just off feeling in your house. And it's really apparent. You can always tell when you don't live in a place. My new house now is like nothing. You're like, oh, there's just a house. There's nothing to it. But I've been in old houses where you're like, you just get that weird vibe, and in certain areas of the house it's weird. So I'm kind of curious, like, like obviously there's nothing there now. You live there, but I wonder if there was something. I wonder if there was something that like something bad happening down there, that this ghost, like, it was so bad that at the time of whoever it was living was like, no one can find out,
Yeah.
My brain kind of goes to like, did something bad happen down there? And now this just like energy's left over of this like thing mad that you're going there because you're going to find out its secret, or, like someone in the chat saying maybe that's where they hid their stash. Right?
Maybe.
But I don't know. What are your thoughts on it?
I think that he was guarding something, like a stash or something. And I told my friend about this. I just said, yeah, they're like this weird guy in the basement, this weird presence. She goes, let me go down, let me see it. She was more in tune with the spiritual world. She goes down, I show her, like, yeah, I feel him around there. She looks at it, she looks down at the ground, and she points at this crack in the floor, and she was like, yeah, he doesn't like you crossing that line.
Weird. So it's like it's getting corroborated by other people that go there and be like, I feel the same thing, without even having to lead them to it. It's terrifying. You don't still live there, do you?
No, but I do kind of want to buy the house if it ever comes on the market.
I mean, I think all of us get attached to like places we've lived. You get memories there, and you want it. But it'd be interesting to go, and then I think one of the first things I'd be doing is trying to cleanse that area,
Yeah.
A little sage, little salt. Be like, hey, this is my place now. Your stash isn't here. It's safe with you. Time to move on.
Exactly.
Thank you so much for calling in with that ghost story. I hope it inspires more people to call in and share their ghost encounters as well.
Yeah. Share your ghost stories, folks.
Thank you, Kyoto, and have yourself a nice night.
You too. Bye.
Take care. Bye. It's so weird when you live in like only those who have lived in a house like know that feeling of like when something's afoot in that house. If you call in and tell me though your crawl space is haunted, they're all haunted, brother. Every single crawl space is haunted in every house, and it's you've got to have like a leak or something. That's how the ghosts get in the house. Because I went down into my crawl space to wire up this trailer for all you cosmic channelers, and it was like I felt like Frodo in Return of the King, right? Before the giant spider comes out, or Harry Potter, right? Going to talk to that giant spider. It's terrible. There's the webs. I was like legit moving them away. I was terrified. It sucked. Lines are open. 1-833-703-0424. Call on the line. Calls take priority. Cosmic Channels, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, this is AJ from Wyoming.
AJ, what's going on?
Not much. I had another ghost story for you.
Ooh, let's hear it. Got a ghostly night going on.
So, yeah. So this one involved my cousin. So he was staying with us for a little bit because his home life wasn't that great. So we gave him a place to stay for a while. So we were just hanging out in the basement where he was sleeping. And usually we just played like Halo or like Call of Duty. And we got done playing video games because he started hearing something. He heard it before I did. And so that's why we stopped. Because he was like, do you hear that? And I was like, kind of. And he's like, well, let's pause the game for a bit and see if we hear anything else. So,
and that's big. That's big. I mean, for the younger generation that doesn't know these, when you would meet up and play split screen with your friends, the level of which a noise would have to be creepy and scary enough for you to pause the game is tremendous. Tremendous.
Yes.
Like you're not just pausing for nothing.
Yeah, and the thing is we were home alone, like completely alone. My dad and my sister were gonna get back soon, but before they came home, we were just hanging out and having fun listening to music. And we have cats, so we kind of thought, okay, it's one of the cats upstairs just playing around, playing with each other. Well, it turns out it wasn't the cats making the noises, because once we paused the game, we went out of the bedroom that he was staying in, and we ended up hearing footsteps walking around upstairs, and it was like slow footsteps, like creeping footsteps. And then we heard it go from like the kitchen, and it came all the way to the steps to the basement, and that's when it stopped. And as it got closer to the basement steps, it got louder and louder, and we both ended up kind of freaking out, looking at each other oh my god, what is happening? And we kind of were scared because we were someone is in the house with us. Someone snuck in, someone walked through one of the other doors in the house and is messing around with stuff upstairs. And so as we heard the footsteps walking further and further towards the the basement steps, we ended up like hiding behind one of the couches, because when you walk down into our basement, like there's like a little landing at the bottom, and then there's like, it's like a little bit of a wall, so like you couldn't really necessarily see into the full basement until you like turned the corner from the stairs. So it's not like they would be able to see us if we were hiding behind the couch. So that's why we just kind of ducked down and we're like, hopefully they don't see us. And as we like ducked down and we're just like sitting there waiting for the footsteps to come down the stairs, nothing happened. And then maybe like 2 seconds later, one of our cats like came down the stairs, and you know, it's obvious, like you can obviously tell what is cat footsteps versus like human footsteps.
Yeah, quite a bit. You can tell a difference between a cat and a baby. Like they're like there's noticeable different thumps.
Right, and so we were definitely freaked out because with us just being home alone, like we were pretty much in the basement all day. We haven't really heard anything aside from just like the cats messing around upstairs. But then like once we heard those noises, we knew that we had to just kind of like sit there and wait it out and see what happens. And like after that, maybe 2-3 minutes later, that's when my dad and my sister came home, and we ended up like booking it upstairs. And I don't remember if we told them anything or not, but I do remember like they could tell that we were like freaked out over something.
Shook.
And I didn't really know what to do after that, because I was just like, dude, I don't know what that was. Like there's no way that was like the cats, because it sounded like someone with shoes on walking around upstairs.
Oh, I can relate to that immensely. Like I grew up in a house with like ghost footsteps, and it's terrifying. Like it's terrifying, but a lot of the times you're just like, oh, someone's here. Like, oh, my mom's here. Mom's home. I thought mom was at. Why is she home from work early? And then you're like waiting for, you know, the footsteps to continue, because they start coming down the stairs, and then you're like, hello? And there's nothing. And you're just like, what the heck? You go upstairs, you're like, no one's there. It's the weirdest thing in the world. And, you know, people who haven't experienced it have no idea. But it's just like, it gives you shivers down your back and your spine, because you're like, is there someone in here? Is there someone watching me? There's no one here. I'm not crazy. I hear footsteps. This is what it sounds like when people are here, but there's no one here. It's really disturbing at times.
Yeah, and it's definitely terrifying, because I didn't really want to go upstairs after that, just because I was like I didn't want to go up the stairs. Like there's other ways to get upstairs. So I kind of was like, we should take a different path upstairs, but we ended up just using the stairs anyway, because once the cat like came down the stairs, we kind of screamed because we were like freaked out, and we thought like it was something gonna come attack us, but it was just the cat, and we're like, oh my god, cat, like was that you? But I was like, no, there's no way that was the cat.
Yeah.
And another instance of that happening was when I was a little bit younger. It was the first couple of years that we lived in that house. My bedroom is right next to my parents' room, and then it's also across from the laundry room. And when you go through the laundry room, you can go upstairs into like the attic space or downstairs into the garage. And my mom was doing laundry. I heard my dad in the bedroom next to me, getting ready for bed or whatever. And I was just laying in bed, and I could see like my bed was facing towards my bedroom door. So like I could see a little bit into the room across from me, because I slept with my door open. and I saw both my dogs exit the laundry room with my mom because she was carrying the laundry back to my parents' bedroom. But like she exited, my dogs exited the room, and then I heard footsteps walking up the stairs to the attic area. And all of my sisters were in bed too because it was our bedtime, because it was around like 8 or 9. And that was like the first ever like creepy experience I had in that house. And I kept that to myself because I was like, no one's gonna believe me, and my mom's just gonna tell me, oh, it was, you know, your dad going upstairs to check something or whatever.
You're just imagining it.
It was not. Like, it was, I know it for a fact that it was like disembodied footsteps walking up the stairs to the attic space, and I was like freaked out, and I just kind of like.
The other one I've always hated that people tell me is, oh, it's probably just wood, the wood expanding, contracting. I'm like, no, it's not a creak. Mm-hmm. It's not cracking. It's thuds. You can almost like you're like, it's someone walking on this. That's the only way to describe it. Wood does not expand and contract like that. It drives me crazy when people who don't hear it try to explain it off.
Right. And I agree too, because like our house is old, so like the steps creaked, the floors creaked because we had wood floors, so like you could hear the difference between like, you know, the pipes or just like, you know, the house settling.
Yeah.
But those times that was not the house settling at all, because, you know, it was very much like someone walking up the stairs, and each step would creak and make a noise, and it was heavy footsteps too. And my sister, I eventually told one of my sisters about both of those experiences, and she looked at me freaked out too, because she's like, I experienced the same thing. And I was like, are you serious? She's like, yeah, like I was home alone and I was in the basement and I heard someone walking around upstairs, and I thought it was you or dad or someone else, but she went upstairs to go check and there was literally nobody home. And she was freaked out, and I was like, yeah, I'm freaked out too.
Yeah, it's like I said, it's unsettling, unnerving to hear those things. I mean, other than ghosts, like I've heard no explanation for them where I'm like, oh, okay, maybe. It's like I have no idea other than like you said, disembodied footsteps. It's terrifying. Hopefully by hearing your story and my story as well, we get more people, you know, more sufferers who suffer from childhood trauma of disembodied footprints.
Yeah, and I definitely like have read a lot too that spirits come to people who may have experienced a lot of trauma, and I definitely like did experience a lot of trauma growing up. So I feel like that is kind of why I experienced more of the paranormal happenings, because not that I was left home alone a lot, but when I was left home alone, I would always just hang out in one room, and if like I would always sleep with the TV on and one light on, so that if I woke up in the middle of the night, I wouldn't be like in complete darkness. Because when I would come home at night and it was complete darkness, I definitely would be turning on one light, running to the next one, turning that one on, then running back to turn the other one off. And I had a light outside of my bedroom door that was in the hallway, so I always try to keep that one on at least, so I had like some sort of light to see.
Oh yeah,
because I always just
I've said it before. I grew up light to light. One light goes on, I'm sprinting to turn another on. My whole life, even now, I'm not walking anywhere in pure darkness. If there's light gonna be somewhere.
Yes. Yeah, that was definitely me growing up in my parents' house.
AJ, thank you so much for calling in again. You know, anytime, feel free to call in anytime with your stories. I love them.
Yeah, I'll definitely call next time. I definitely have a couple more sleep paralysis stories to tell, so
Beauty.
next time I'll call in.
All right, sounds good. We'll talk to you again.
All right. Yeah, thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
Listen, ghost footprints. You've heard them? Call in. We've all been there's must be millions of us out there that have been plagued by these things as a kid. Being part of it's the winter, it's the cold, and the boards and the floor, and the doors creaking. Oh, you must have left the window open. The draft. No, shut the fuck up. It's ghosts. I know what I'm hearing. It's not that stuff. It's ghosts. Lines are open. This is gonna be the last call. It's a big night tonight for me. Big night. Cosmic Channels, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Braden, what's up, brother? This is Joe from Dallas again, man. How you doing?
Hey, brother, how's it going tonight?
Same shit, man. I'm at work again. I turned this radio down. Sorry. Yeah, I gotta be on Bluetooth again, like it was last time. But I had a quick one tonight for you, man.
All right, let's hear it.
We had the ghost stuff going on in Florida last time. We're living in Dallas now, but we had the same place on the Lusty battlefield I told you about. Do you remember what I was telling you about before, the Lusty, all that ghost stuff that was going on down there?
Yeah.
We had, my wife and I were out there sky watching one night, and I was trying to show her the International Space Station. As it goes over, and you can see it from horizon to horizon when it goes to line. And we're sitting there watching it. I showed her, and I pulled it up. We're watching it go across the sky. It's really dark sky out there at night. It's a country area. And we're watching it about 3/4 of the way through the sky. It takes like a 30-degree turn, like it just instant. It cuts off its path. And I'm looking. I'm like, what the hell is this? And then it breaks into like 3 pieces. And she looks at me. She's like, I thought this was like a satellite or something that goes. I was like, yeah, it's supposed to be. And then after the 3 pieces break off, there's a big light comes over the tree horizon while we're sitting on the tailgate of the truck. And she's like, I'm going inside. She's like, you and my son Jacob. She's like, y'all can stay out here and get picked up if you want to. I'm going in.
Yeah, I mean, I've had a couple of callers now with that kind of same experience, and I've seen that too. And I tell everyone, go sit out and skywatch go at big open field, no light pollution.
Yeah.
Give yourself some hours, crack a couple cold ones, and you will see something. You will see at least one thing on a clear night where you go, I don't know what it's.
It's even cool to see the space station and the satellites. It's cool to see that stuff.
Yeah, of course. I've seen the similar, nothing that broke into 3 pieces like that. That's pretty wild. But I've seen what I think's a satellite, and I'm like, as soon as I see one satellite, and then it just does a turn, and you're like, huh? Well,
yeah, it's not supposed to. It's supposed to be in a straight line, horizon to horizon.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be breaking off in a different direction.
So I've seen that, and I'm like, well, that was weird. And then I'm like, is that in high altitude plane? Or a high altitude drone? I'm like, what the fuck am I looking at? I've also seen a big bright flash in the sky at night where it just looked like...
it did a flash before it broke off. It actually did, yes.
It probably looks like this big in the sky, and it looks like someone, like a flash of a camera, just like click, and it flashed off, and you're like, what's that? What was that?
I thought it might have been in Florida there, they do all the launches at Canaveral,
Yeah.
And I was like, maybe they did a launch from a rocket or a shuttle or something, and they break the fuel cells break off and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But I went and looked online, and there was no launches or anything like that. There was not supposed to be anything like that going on in the sky that night.
Yeah, like I said, I'll say it a million times. You don't go buy Stephen Greer's CE5, because all Stephen
you can if you want to, but
you can. But listen, you just go out there. That's the trick to the CE5 is you're going out looking at the sky. Yeah. You're spending time watching the sky.
You don't have to be some rich dude trying to make money to talk to aliens.
You don't have to spend $59.99 on an app to go see
or
some shit.
$6,000 to go see his flares.
You don't have to go to Mount Shasta with Dr. Greer. Literally, clear night, low light pollution.
Yeah.
Get a blanket.
You're going to see some shit. And even if it's normal shit like the satellites, it's cool to see.
Yes, 100%. Hey, thank you so much for calling in. I want more people to call in with their weird sky watching stories because There's weird
it was
ones.
just, we were hoping to see some satellites, literally, something like that. We thought we did, and then it broke apart. And then literally, after it broke into three, there was one big single light came over the tree line. That was my wife's like, that's it, I'm done.
The splitting up is weird, because I've seen something similar other than the splitting up. So maybe we'll get some more people calling in.
Get picked up if you want to. I'm out of here. See what it says. Like, nah.
Right on, man. Thank you so much for calling in, and I want more people now to listen to that and call in with skywatching stories. So if you're listening, you don't have a story, get a story this weekend. It's May long weekend. Go out there. The weather's nice. Find a nice cool area that you like.
Well, dark spot in the woods.
And then sit down in a nice chair or a blanket and just sit back and enjoy the show. So thank you.
Yeah. Love you guys, Braden.
Hey, thank you so much for calling in. Take care of yourself. Keep those eyes on the skies.
Yeah, you too. Yeah. Talk to you next time, brother.
Peace. That's awesome. More skywatching calls. If you're listening to this, you're like, man, I wish I had a story. Go get yourself a story. Go this weekend. Dedicate a couple hours each night. When it gets dark, grab a beer, crack a cold one. Have a smoke. And just enjoy watching the sky. Like on a clear night, you will never regret going and sitting out for a couple hours and just star watching. I promise you that. Your thoughts will drift to life and the universe and all things cool. But this show, something again is wrong with the donation, but I don't know why it's not moving up. We're at the ad now. Boom, we got it. Thank you to Duchess of Doobies. Donating to the show. I have to check the numbers, but I'm pretty sure Duchess of Doobies is the #1 supporter of Cosmic Channels. Thank you so much for your continued support. And I'm guessing this is Mr. King. Thank you for your donation. Listen, everything we raise on the show, I've said it 1,000 times, everything we raise on the show, put back right in the show. So you want to help those UK. You guys help those UK callers get a line. Now I want to get some ads running so we can make sure we have listeners for when that line goes live. And it's easy way to help with the show. Free ways to help with the show. Like and share a post. Tell your friend about Cosmic Channels. Tell your friend to call into Cosmic Channels. Just spread the word that is Cosmic Channels. It's the best way to do it. I'm going to close the lines out. There's a Canucks game on, everyone. It's do or die tonight against the team, the Edmonton Oilers, and I gotta go watch it. So that's it for this week of Cosmic Channels. The lines are now closed, but listen, we'll be back next week. This, as everyone knows, this is, as I've been saying on AATT, and this is my last big weekend. My friend Kyle, who passed away, it's his memorial service this weekend, so gonna get through this, and then my life, the waters in my life calm out immensely. So we're scheduling to do more daddies and baddies on ATT. There's talks of doing some more bonus material coming up in the next couple weeks. So it's going to be after this feels like a roller coaster 2 months for all of us here at Big Theory Productions and ATT and me with Cosmic Channels. Things are starting to level out, so it's going to be really nice to kind of get back into the groove of doing things. You've probably noticed that there hasn't been posts. There hasn't been, a lot of bonus content, and it's just been a tough one. It's been a tough 8 weeks for all of us, so it's going to be nice to kind of get back into it and really get into doing creative stuff more and more. So thank you, everyone who's been listening to the show and downloading the show. Really appreciate it. As of recording right now, this episode is probably, I don't know if it's going to beat our best episode. I don't know if it's going to beat our best episode to date, but it's going to be close. So a really good download day again for Cosmic Channel. So thank you guys so much, and we'll see you all next week.